Inksproducts.com has now released a revised install video for the Epson 1430 wide format printer. Now we've come up with a better install where you can close the lid pretty much all the way down. Now you turn on the printer, bring the cartridge assembly over, and remove all the cartridges. Let me bring it over, head it off. It's a very simple install, extremely simple. You're going to have one bracket right here. That's the main hose bracket. You're going to have another hose bracket here, and this little cutout here or indentation in the printer is where the hose can loop and come out so you can shut it. And then you'll be able to put one more on the outside. Now when you first do it, you're going to see all the lights on. You brought them over. Now what I want to do is I want to unplug it, because if I try moving this by hand, I could damage the printer. The reason why I want to unplug it, because I got to take the cartridge assembly and slide it up under this bridge right here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to unplug it. Then we're going to install it. Now I can move this by hand. If I didn't unplug it and try this, I could damage it. Now I'll take the cartridges and I'll slide them under. Now I put the bracket on already, but you can wait and put it on afterwards, after we get these in. I kind of got ahead of myself here and put on the bracket way too soon. There you go, I bring it through. There you go. Now I can bring over the cartridge assembly. There. Now I can put the cartridges down in. Now if you don't click them in properly, you're going to get cannot recognize. And actually on this printer here, because it doesn't have a LED screen, all the lights are going to light up here if it's not installed correctly. So take your time, get it down in there. Now you can see the hose comes down, it's going to go under. There's another bracket right underneath. We put it under here. That's where the hose is going to slip in. That's what's going to help it so you can close the top. Okay, get it in there. And it's going to take some pushing to snap them in there, because you got to snap them in. Sometimes I'll use my thumb. Hear that click? Then I got to go all the way across and do that. Sometimes it works a lot better when you have both hands free. There you go. I clicked them in. Sometimes I push against the top tabs. That's how you unlock it. You pull them slightly forward. I want them in. Now this right here, you got to be very careful. This is your reset. That's the COC Smart Chip reset. So when one color shows empty, when you squeeze that one, it's in the cartridge change position, all the colors are going to go full. That's what's awesome. Otherwise you waste too much paper. I'll push it all the way over there, as far as it can go. And then, like I said, I put that on a little bit too soon, but there's a little way you can feed it in. So I got a straight paper path up, come on across, and I'm going to go into my other bracket right here. Before I do that, I want to check hose travel. So I'm going to take this, start moving over, because I think I'm going to have to let some hose out. It's going to be too tight. You can see it's coming across. Perfect. That's perfect. See how nice and smooth that went? Okay. So now I come over here. And there. Put it in here. Then I'm gonna tuck it right in here. It's not gonna hurt the hose. I want you to do this. See, just like that. See that little loop? Then I've got it on the outside right here on the other bracket. I want that loop. that's actually going to help you. That's like having a double loop hose bracket added to it. What's going to happen, it stops any siphoning from the cartridges back to the bottle. Sometimes if you see a little air in the hose here, pay no attention to it. That'll disappear once we do some printing or do a cleaning. This way now, I could close the lid. One more thing, I added the lid extender piece. You're going to get it. It comes with two-sided adhesive tape, and you're going to stick it to the original extender that Epson has. So I added another about a 1/4 inch. So then when I close it down, now watch this. This is where it's got to go in. That's the interlock. So if nothing's in there, the printer doesn't work properly. So that's why I wanted to make up this video, so I could shut the lid all the way down without using rubber plugs and all of that. It closes right down. That's it. And then the hose is right in there like that, so it's not going to hurt anything. There. Pretty much all the way down. Now I'll plug it in and I can turn it on. I'm going to go over this one more time. You can see I've added this little extender piece. Comes in a kit. Peel and stick it on. Then I tuck the hose in. I'll get a close up here. I want it to go down there and there like that. I want it to do that little loop like that. That's awesome. Come all the way over. Now you see that little bubble there? Pay no attention to it. These come primed already. Please do not try to reprime them. Leave it alone. It'll go away. Okay, now I'm going to close it. Then I'll go plug it back in. Plug it in. I want to point this out. By doing it this way, you don't have to use any rubber plug on the interlock. Simple and easy to do. You don't have to cut into your printer, or, you know, some people want it installed and you can't see the hose. Well, that sounds good, but if you ever have a problem, then you got to take the sides off the printer. You got to dismantle that printer to get the system out. I don't recommend that. I think if you can find a better design, that's better off than taking everything apart. I didn't have to cut anything. Oh, I did have to take something apart, as you'll know. I took the cover off here that goes over the cartridges. I used a little, in the instruction we show you how to do it, a little flat blade screwdriver, and it comes right off. You just save it. I did have to take that off, so I just wanted to point that out. Okay, now let me close it up. Turn it on. Now let's see what happens. Now, I'm going to fold up a piece of paper, and I'm going to put it in an interlock so you can watch the hose go back and forth. Let's see what we get. I'll open it up, see if it's going to move. Takes a minute. And here it's moving back and forth there. I'll lift it up so you can see. I don't have an interlock or a jumper piece of paper here, so. Okay, now, I had all the lights come on. Okay? So now I'm going to touch a little red light there. Let it go back and forth. It's going to over and stop. Now I'm going to pick the unit back up and reset it back down again. That happened because I had unplugged it, installed it, and now I have to reseat it back again. So I can pick it back up. Okay, now I'll be able to snap it back down again, and then I'll press the little reset button a couple of times. Actually, I'll press it 6 times, one for each color, just to reset everything. And I stuck it in an interlock. Now I just snapped them all back in. I reset it. I'll press them here. I'm going to go over. Going to check the cartridges. Now if the hose was too short or too loose, mostly too short, you'll get an error code. See, the lights went out. So that's very important what I just did. See, when I first installed them, I did it when the power was off. And then I had to pick them up and reinstall them again. I do this in the video just to show you exactly what's going to happen. And then again, I have that little paper in it. It's going into its charging now. I didn't open up the little vent holes before I turned it on. That's very important. You have to do that before you turn it on. I waited and then I did it. I did it incorrectly. So the instructions would tell you to do that first. And there again, I do this for video because you're getting busy, you're installing it, you can forget things like that. So I just wanted to point that out. It can happen. Now we'll let it go back and forth. It could take up to 2 to 3 minutes to do it, to initialize everything. And that little air that you saw is already gone. So I said, pay no attention to that. When it's done, I'll run a nozzle check. But look how nice that hose is running back and forth. I'll be able to close the lid and then do a nozzle check. So I'll take the paper out. That's the interlock thing I did just temporarily. And I'll close the lid down. Okay? Now I'll go over to the printer and we'll print out a nozzle check. And up there, what we're going to do is we're going to go over into properties. That's where I want to go. I want to go into properties. And then we're going to go to maintenance. And then I can do a nozzle check. Sometimes I recommend running a cleaning, but I'm just going to do a nozzle check. And then we can always run 1, 2, or 3. No more than 3 cleanings, ever. Oops, I got off camera there. There you go. Okay, let's go over here to print it. Okay, now I'll leave it on clean or finish. I'll wait to see how it comes out first. Look at it. It's really hard to see, but I guess because of the lighting. There you go. Now yellow is almost impossible to see. But we'll find out how. Now I'm going to print out that test sheet. And then we'll see how everything looks. Text image, that's what I always set it on. I never ever use text or draft. Because Epson printers, when you use it in that, you have to clean too much, so you waste more ink. Okay, then I'll go over here and I'll just say okay. Okay. And now let's see what happens. Monitor came up. I got the lid down. Sheet of paper is feeding in. Coming out. Everything looks awesome. Good. Perfect. Now, never install a system in the printer unless you have a good nozzle check. You have to have that first. So it's not functioning good when you... And then you go and put the system in, it's not going to come out that good. There you go, perfect. All the colors. That's how simple it was to install our new ink refill systems. Now we make an all black one. We make one in sublimation ink, pigment ink, dye-based ink. Now Clarion ink is a dye-based ink, just to let you know. But you can put sublimation. Now we can print on regular film like this. And that's used, that's what's good about this printer. That's for screen printing, positive screen printing. You can print right with it. So if you get our all black system. Now another thing I want to point out in the video that we make that's really unique is we make something called the quick fill station. I'm going to show you that. A lot of people don't want to put hoses in. They don't want to do any of that. But we have something else that you might like. I'll show you here in a second. The quick fill station. You can fill the cartridges right in the printer. You don't have to take them out. Squeeze the button, resets all the ink levels. Now these cartridges are even larger than the ink system cartridges. So they hold quite a bit of ink. So if you don't want to have a hose coming out for whatever reason, you can get our quick fill station. Or we have refillable cartridges. We make that also in all black. We use our double midnight black for this so we can print out film positives. We can put a piece of this film in there and print it right out with all black ink. So this printer's got a lot of options that you can use: sublimation ink and pigment ink. So go to inkproducts.com for all the latest products for the Epson Artisan 1430.